Welcome to your May 2025 energy update. We are Corey, Peyton, and myself, Yaila, and we like to bring 3 different perspectives for you for every month. We are going to start with Peyton. She does our channeled messages from the Pleiadians, and then we are going to be followed up with Corey doing the astrology report, and I will wrap things up doing the collective energy reading tapped in live as we record. So, Peyton, what do the P's have to say?
Thank you so much, Yaila. It's always good to see you ladies. So, hey y'all, I'm Peyton and I channel the Pleiadians. And they had a very interesting message for us for May. Now, the P's have not talked to us in a while about our ascension progress. And so whenever they come in and they're willing to give us an update on this, it really gets exciting. They have me at the edge of my chair. So today the message that they had for us is a little dense. I hope I'm going to be able to land the plane and make this make sense. It's a little chewy, but they wanted to share some very important concepts with us to help us understand how the ascension process is playing out right now. Now, as we all know, if we are part of the spiritual community, as a human collective, we are going through what we call the ascension process, which means, of course, we are moving from a lower band of consciousness, which we sometimes call 3D, to a higher band, which we call 5D. And this is a very big jump in frequency, so we couldn't do it all at once. So this has been kind of a gradual process. As a human collective, we've been raising our frequency. So what the Pleiadians wanted to tell us about where we are in this process is to help us understand that the 5D grid, which we are moving on to, is now stable. It is available to us. As they like to say, the doors to 5D are now open. And we have heard them say some similar things to that, but they had something to add. And what they mentioned was that some humans have already made the transition. So some humans have already shifted into what we like to call the new earth. And that's something that we don't hear a lot in the spiritual community. So when they mentioned that, I thought it was really exciting. A really exciting benchmark of where we stand right now, that it's happening. Now, something else that they wanted to help us understand about this process we're going through of shifting consciousness grids is to help us understand that what we think of as the 3D Earth storyline, they say that story is complete. That timeline has completed itself. And so what they wanted us to understand is that 3D lives only in our collective memory. And I've never heard them say anything like that before. So what they wanted us to understand about this is that we are keeping, as a human collective, 3D alive the more we play with it, the more we kind of engage with its systems and structures, its beliefs, its themes and its storylines. We drag the 3D story out longer for ourselves. And in the spiritual community, most of us are really eager to be done with that story. So the guides wanted to help us understand, the P's wanted us to understand that one of the ways that we prolong the experience of 3D, even though the story has completed, it's actually done. We drag it out for ourselves as a human collective if we think that we are waiting for 5D to happen to us. In the spiritual community, many of us have been taught that the ascension process is going to happen to us from the outside, that we are waiting for the sun to do something, that we are waiting for the human collective to wake up. But the P's wanted to give us a little reframe on this to help us understand that the ascension process happens from within. It's not something that's going to happen to us. So, as they have been fond of saying recently, you are the ascension process. So we're not waiting for something to happen outside of us. We're not waiting for the human collective to get it, to see the light, to wake up, as we have been taught by so many people in the spiritual community. The P's wanted to give us a little bit of kind of a reframe of that concept. So they say that it's actually one of our misunderstandings in the spiritual community that we're having to wait for others, or that it's coming to us from the outside, that it's out of our control. They said these are just old 3D storylines. So what they wanted us to understand is we are all going to be moving through this process individually. This is an individual decision, and that everyone moves at their own pace. Because as they have explained to us over the years so many times, there are countless timelines. There is not a single version of reality. So when we think about the ascension process, it's not any different. There is not a single ascension story. Instead, it is something that every person kind of moves through at their own pace, based on their own decisions. So, as the P's like to say, we're all taking different elevators. But they know in the spiritual community, we are so excited for this process to move into a better earth. Sometimes we like to call this the new earth. The P's wanted to give us some advice on how to manifest that in our reality so that we don't continue to prolong the 3D storyline without realizing it. So the first thing they said we have to do in order to actually manifest the change in our consciousness grid, to see this actual 5D reality around us, is we've got to let go of 3D. So they wanted us to understand that it's very important, if we are wanting to move into fifth dimensional energies, you've got to let go of the old, which when you think about it, makes perfect sense. Because as they were pointing out, you can't take 3D with you. So the more involved we are in the 3D storylines, all the shiny toys, the negative agendas, and who's doing what, we just prolong the 3D experience for ourselves as a collective. And the second thing that is very important if we want to actually see a manifested 5D reality around us, actually move through that veil ourselves onto the new consciousness grid, is that we have to match fifth dimensional energies all the time. And most of us kind of touch 5D energies here and there. We have those good days where we are vibrating with the love, we get it, and then we pick up our phone or see a news story and it goes out the window. So the P's wanted us to understand that if we want to actually manifest a 5D reality around ourselves as a collective, we have to hold that frequency all the time. No matter what anyone else is doing, no matter what stories we may be being fed by the world around us, we have to be able to hold the 5D frequency. So one thing the P's had offered to me one day when I was falling down that rabbit hole of getting sucked into some sort of 3D story is they came in and they suggested that I look at it like this. If you're someone who is kind of struggling to let go of some of the chaos around you, the P's came in and said that that story, the one that had my hair on fire that day, was a test from my higher self to just see if I would fall for the distraction, to see if I would let that pull me off of my vibration. And so anytime I started to get sucked into a 3D rabbit hole, I heard them making that point. And it starts to help you kind of let go of some of the ways that you may be continuing to anchor yourself to 3D. So the P's just wanted to help us kind of understand a little bit more about what this process is that we're going through and how we can move through it more quickly. The more we understand it, the easier it is to avoid some of the traps and the pitfalls that keep us anchored to that 3D storyline longer than we'd like. So that is what the P's had for us for the May energies. Corey, what do you see coming up in the May astrology?
Thank you, Peyton. Wow. And P's. Thank you, the peas. What a message. It was funny. I was thinking about that earlier today. Ascension. There are no coincidences. So the May astrology, May 2025, is, May is going to be a bit easier than April was. We are still going through a lot of the tear down of old structures. Yes, we have moved into 5D, but there are still some of the 3D things that need to be cleared. So, starting the 5th of May, Pluto, ruler of the underground, hidden secrets, is going to go retrograde in Aquarius. And so Aquarius rules, of course, humanitarianism, the galactics. Pluto rules, as I said, like hidden secrets, and like underhanded power or underground power. So as the retrogrades, we always review, rewind, and take a look at, what we've been going through as a collective, because Aquarius rules the collective, humanitarianism. And so it's going to be really strong. When on the 4th of May, it's going to stationary to go retrograde for several weeks. And usually there are big changes on the world stage. So if you haven't done your personal work or have, as the P's were saying, learned to let go of some of those triggers or drama or chaos, the world is going to do it for you, because that's the energies that we're in. We're still, 2025 is all about getting rid of old structures. We do have opportunities to build new ones. Okay, so the full moon in on the 12th of May is going to be in Scorpio, and it's going to be opposite Uranus. So Scorpio rules it. Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So and it's opposite Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus. So this is a indication that there could be some financial system issues, because Taurus rules money and Mother Earth, so maybe some seismic activities. We've been seeing a lot of seismic activities, even here in California, where we all are. That was fun. And underground secrets revealed. So what's happening is those 3D structures are being revealed still. And because Scorpio is, rules the underground hidden secrets, much like Pluto, because it's its ruling planet. And the full moon is about releasing what no longer serves us. But in order to release what no longer serves us, it has to come up to the surface. So this full moon in Scorpio, being opposite Uranus in Taurus, is going to release a lot of financial system secrets, corruption. And we've been seeing it for quite a while, but it's still continuing. And then we have Saturn. That's the principle that says, young man, you were late for school, and this is the 5th time this week. You're going to get detention. That's Saturn. Saturn is the restrictor, the rule, keeper, is going to enter Aries. Aries is very independent. Aries is the new. Saturn is the old structure. Aries is the new. So, and it's also going to be together with Neptune. And Neptune is also in Aries. So over the next several months, uh, shipping, fishing, sea levels, because Neptune is that water. And a lot of, also too, is that Saturn is the government, top down structures. So we might see something going on in legislation, and fighting for the underdog, something along those lines. So Saturn, it's going to be out of Pisces, and woohoo! I'll be out of my Saturn return. And then on the 26th of May, we have a new moon in Gemini. And this is so yummy. It's really yummy because we'll have Mercury in Gemini. And so it is I'd say it's probably the best new moon that we will have in 2025 because it's just so yummy. So make sure and do your manifestation, what you want to create in this new moon in Gemini. So it's a great time to organize your mind clutter because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is going to be in Gemini. That's the mind. Learning new things because Gemini loves to learn. You also probably a lot of communication. Is there a new way of communicating? Is there? We might. Well, we know we'll see a lot of the social media, but how do how that communication goes? Is it going to be on a higher consciousness? If you'd like to align yourself with more of a higher consciousness communication, this is a great time to manifest it on the 26th of May. So those are the bigger things that are happening in May of 2025. And so it's a little easier energy. It's still strong, endings and beginnings. We get the opportunity to get a little bit more of being able to create. It's a very creative month. So creating the new earth is what May is going to be all about. But we will see some of the old going down, so to speak. So that's what I've got for the astrology. Yeah. What have you got?
Thank you so much, ladies. I definitely resonate with what you both have shared, and it'll tie into the collective reading. So if you've ever watched our videos before, I just tap into the collective energy as we record. So I will have my eyes closed from time to time. So let me just connect in with you all now. And I always like to ask for a blessing for those of you tuning in. Creator of all that is, please bring forth the information and any healing for your highest and best good. Please guide me with clarity and accuracy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm getting a really beautiful green color, like your favorite green color in nature is the collective energy that I'm seeing for that. And tapping into what Corey was just sharing, this is a creative type of energy. It's a healing type of energy, and it's also connected to your heart chakra. So our heart chakra is predominantly green. And what I'm getting from that is your key for this month is to remind yourself to drop into your heart, leading through your heart and your heart's wisdom. The information that your heart collects is from, those lower body chakras as well as the higher ethereal chakras, your clear seeing, clear knowing, and they both combine into the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is the wisdom of the two worlds together. So that is going to be your guidance for the month of May, is dropping into that heart chakra for your wisdom. And I always like to ask, what is helpful to know for the actual month coming up? And what I heard from that is, and this tied into what Peyton and Corey were sharing, is what I've been hearing is we are the creator of our reality. So everything that you are bumping into, whether it's old patterns that you're realizing or people mirroring back to you, whether it's triggers or ways that you default to things, or maybe similar situations popping up, you are the creator of all of it. You get to choose what timeline, what path you want to continue down on. And we've shared this in our videos before, but it feels like there's a new level of getting it for the collective that you are the creator of this. So things that you can look forward to in May is realizing at a deeper level that you get to control your reality so much more than you've believed in the past. And that might be referring back to what the P's were saying, that more and more people are connecting to that 5D consciousness, because that is part of it. That heart chakra awareness, that awareness that our frequency is what calls in our reality. So you have a lot more say in your world than you've realized up to this point. So that is something really excited to look forward to. Something I like to ask is to watch out for the month of May. And I heard two things. So one is watch out for being too much in your head, because that can definitely happen when we are seeing old patterns, whether it's with ourselves or the outside world reflecting back to us. We can be very heady about that. We can overanalyze ourselves and different people and situations. So watch out for being too much in your head. And when you do realize that, again, that guidance is to go back to your heart chakra and really leading from that place versus overthinking. And the other thing they were saying is to watch out for everyday magic, because if you are looking for it, you will find it. So that is something that is always all around. It's just taking that conscious choice to find that everyday magic, and you will see it. So those are fun things to watch out for. I always like to wrap things up with any other helpful information for the collective. And let's just see what they have to say. And this may have come in before, but it's kind of tying in with everything that was shared in today's update, is it's all happening for you. All of this is happening for us to go to that next level. We're ready. We have that deeper connection. We are connecting to those deeper levels of consciousness. We are learning to be more in our heart chakra. The masculine and feminine energies are starting to balance a lot more. Will we see our external world change and shift? Absolutely. Will we see our internal world shift and change? Absolutely. But it's all happening for us in the highest and best good. So as we always say, stay connected to your heart chakra, stay connected to the love, and you will make it with flying colors. Ladies, would you like to add anything else for the May energy update? All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in with our monthly videos. We always appreciate your taking your time to share your space with us. And we do appreciate likes, shares, comments, anything you feel called to support our channels with. And we will see you next month for the June energy update. Have a great day.